to Reality Tea Times 2, the podcast where we talk about all the reality trash TV we love to hate. I'm Tanika, and just to start off right at the beginning, like from what we discussed in the B90 episode last week, Ava will not be with us with this episode today. It will be a case-by-case basis. Maybe she'll be with us in the next episode of Selling Sunset, which may or may not be coming at the end of the week. But we don't have anything really to discuss right off the bat. We're just going to jump right into the episode. So we are going to be covering 2 episodes in this episode. So we're going to start off with Season 6, Episode 6, Mary in the Middle. Oh boy. We all know already from the previous episodes that we've gone through so far that Mary is just a real point of conversation. Again, if there's anything that we need to talk about with Ava in these next episodes, we will do that. But the differences with Selling Sunset is there's not a lot to talk about in the same way that we would with B90. So we'll see how it goes and we'll go from there. We start off in the office and look, here's Brett and Jason. I think we've barely seen Brett. And obviously Jason wasn't with us. He was in Europe with Skip to Malou. So we find out that Emma has lost a listing. She had a listing with Zed. And for those who know Zed, he is kind of like a David Guetta. I know he's had a few songs with like Selena Gomez, and I know there's a song he had with Alyssa, am I saying her name right? Alyssa Cara, I believe is how you say her name. I should know her name because she's Canadian. In case we haven't mentioned, both me and Ava live in Canada. But anyways, he's that person. So anyways, Emma lost that listing with him. So she tells us that she partly lost this listing because Jason had made a promise to be at the showings. And obviously Jason is more invested in his relationship with Skip to Malou and ditching everybody and going to Europe for, I believe he was gone for 3 weeks. They weren't impressed that he wasn't there. He made this empty promise, which for me, I feel like he shouldn't have made this promise if he knew that he wasn't going to probably show up as much as maybe Emma would, and completely screwed her in getting her commission on this listing, and in total screwed the brokerage from another sale being added to their list of sales. I think he was really wrong with that because, like I said, he was on vacation. So Brett says, you don't make promises that you know you may not be able to keep. I think that's just, especially in this business, you just don't make promises. As I've said, you don't know what could be going on in your life at the time that you maybe need to be available. And in his case, he decided to go on vacation. Then Jason says, I don't need your help with knowing how to run my side of the business or what I need to do. And I say to that, Jason, clearly you may not need help per se, but you're screwing yourself. You've screwed Emma. You've screwed the client, and you've screwed the brokerage, aka you have screwed the other half of your brokerage, which is your literal other half being Brett. So I did take a problem with that, and I took a problem with his attitude on top of that. So he proceeds to make excuses because I'm assuming that Emma was emailing him, trying to get his attention here, being like, help me. We're about to lose this client. And Jason just makes excuses about the fact that he gets 800 emails a day and that Emma should have texted him. But stop making excuses. Jason, stop. Because you're telling everybody else that they're making excuses or whatever. Emma did the right thing by emailing you. It is not her problem that you didn't see her email. And how is texting any different? I don't agree with him. I don't agree with him at all. Because I think where this all starts is you made a promise that you couldn't keep. And that's where the problem is here. And again, kind of just going to our industry that both me and Ava are in. If I could tell you the amount of unread emails in my boss's inbox is unreal. But that doesn't mean he's not on top of things. And even if he's not the one on top of things, I sure as hell am. I'm not missing anything. Even if I am, I don't get 800 emails a day. I would go insane. But I probably easily could get between 40 to 50 a day, and it can be hectic. And yes, maybe I'm working on one thing and going to a next thing, but you have to stay on top of your job, no matter what your job is, no matter what is going on in your life. And in the position that he is in, you need to be on top of it, no matter where you are in the world. There's just no excuse. So moving on with that, we're with Bree at her listing, and she's at a listing with, I believe this person is some sort of producer in the music industry, and he's a popular person in the industry, and he's had a lot of artists come to his home and it kind of be like a sanctuary where they can write music or just, let the artistic juices flow in a sense. We find out from this that Justin Bieber has actually written songs on this client's piano. He apparently wrote It's Yummy, right? I kind of fell off with Bieber after he did Sorry. Anyways, not to say that I don't know some of the songs. Of course I do. Again, I am Canadian, born in the same province as Justin Bieber. If you know, you know. So I not to say that I don't know more of the recent stuff, but I'm not like as big with a lot of the recent stuff. So, but anyways, he wrote Yummy on that piano. So cool. Then we're with Chrishell and Emma, and they're discussing Jason's absence and Mary's avoidance. Yeah, I think I've gone into depth already about the excuses that Jason was making, about this whole situation with Emma and the listing she lost. And we have talked in depth. Both me and Ava have talked in depth about Mary's avoidance and how that just does not fly when you are supposed to be a manager. You can't avoid. You just can't. But anyways, then we're at the penthouse with Mary. And guys, I remember his name now. The trick, Lettuce. And we're with Romaine and Jason. Uh-oh. So as we discussed in the previous episode, we talked about the fact that nothing was done in this penthouse and he wanted it done by the time he came back. Jason wanted it done by the time he got back. And as we suspected, Jason is not happy with the progress that has been made with the penthouse. Duh. Did you see the situation before you left, Jason? As I mentioned before, there was no walls in this penthouse. Anyway, and then Romaine talks to Jason about the windows and the fact that the windows may either A, need to be completely changed if they're not able to tint the windows. Jason has taken the position of there is no way in hell we are replacing these windows. I'm not paying the amount that needs to be paid to change the windows. Well, we saw this coming, did we not? And Mary somewhat is dismissive about this whole situation. And she kind of says, well, you left me here to deal with this and blah, blah, blah. Again, can we go back to they should have called this episode Making Excuses, because everyone's just making excuses. And I found that kind of to be unprofessional, but that's kind of Mary's thing these days, is being unprofessional. So we're talking about the situation with Chrishell and Nicole, and the drama that has come out of that situation, and the fact that Mary has taken the dismissive stance of, I'm not dealing with it. I don't want to do it. Well, guess what, guys? Jason doesn't want to deal with it either. Why? Because they are both ex-girlfriends. Well, then, Jason, stop shitting where you sleep, like I've mentioned in a previous episode. Stop doing that, and then we won't have this problem. But you dated Nicole a long time ago. Chrishell, maybe a little more recent, obviously. But at the end of the day, these people are not your ex-girlfriends when it comes to the business. They are your employees. So deal with it. Anyway. And Mary is really upset about the fact that Jason is, like Mary, deciding I'm not dealing with this. I don't want to do it. I don't know. And Mary calls him a dick. And I wrote, damn. I don't think in the 6 seasons that we have seen of this show, I don't think Mary has ever called him a dick. Don't they share a dog or something? You know what I mean? I don't know. Anyway, so there's going to be a convo with Nicole, Mary, and Chrishell. Sans Jason, because as we just discussed, he does not want to be a part of this. Mary states facts about Chrishell being on the MLS. That's what it's called, guys. That's what I was trying to remember in a previous episode. The term that they call when they put a listing on, like for the public to see, it's MLS. So yes, they talk about that, and she, because she's on the MLS, then Chrishell does deserve credit, no matter what she may or may not have done on the listing. Then Nicole says that Jason put Chrishell on the listing because he had a crush on Chrishell. Now, guys, we've talked about this in length with Ava as well. It's so inappropriate because there was nothing going on between Jason and Chrishell at that time. From my memory, Jason had a girlfriend at the time, and as for Chrishell was married to Kevin. Anyway, so then Nicole says, I don't remember the timeline because Chrishell tells Nicole, I was still married. Nothing was going on between me and Jason. I have a huge problem with you saying that on television at that. So again, title of this episode makes excuses. And why would Chrishell not take that personally? Nicole, you're basically taking the stance of trying to defame her character, And not only that, trying to defame her character at a time when she was married to somebody else who she had been with for years at that point. Like, you don't do that. Ugh. But you know what? Chrishell's going to get her moment, as we will see very soon in the next episodes. So Chrishell says, like, they were friends. You know, we don't know how close they were, but they were friends. And feels that Nicole is being fake. Because that's, and I've said this before in a previous episode when we talked about the receipts that Chrishell posted, was either A, Nicole was being fake with Chrishell and pretending to be her friend, or she is being fake now. There is no in between. So, and I believe that Nicole is talking in circles. I really do. But anyways, that's kind of all I have for episode 6. And again, guys, I will just say in the beginning, in the middle here, I know this formatting is very different. We do want to try to get through these episodes because we will be having probably 4 episodes that we will be covering at once come the end of July. So we want to make sure we get these out to you. We do not want to backburn these episodes and say we just don't have the time for them. We want to get them out to you. We promise we would. So we're going to stick to it. So, and I know this formatting is a little different at the moment, but as mentioned in the B90 episode, if you didn't listen to the B90 episode, Ava won't be able to record this week. She has some things going on and personally, but in the end of the day, we still want to make sure we're getting things out to you. We don't want to not do that. So that's why I'm on my own. Again, if we are able to get any sort of thoughts with Ava on any of these episodes, we will do that. It might be like really quick ones. We will do it. But in the meantime, you have me. So we're just going to take a little break here, and then we will get into the next episode. Okay, so we're back. Well, I'm back, and we are going right into season 6, episode 7. If you can't stand the heat. ... So we first find out that Chelsea has closed on her listing, and she rang the bell. Where was Nicole? Was she right there? I wanted her to just, have a little discomfort. And Jason is leaving again. Sir, don't you have something to do? Don't you have a penthouse to make sure it gets finished? Like, I'm so confused. Why are you leaving? Sir, my lord. But he suggests that the ladies should go on a girls' trip. Yay! Hold on to that thought. So then we're with Jason and Chrishell, and they are going to dinner by themselves. There's no one else there, just them. And I'm there, like, at the edge of my seat, being like, what's going to happen? What's going to happen? What's going to happen? So Chrishell mentions at this time, and I know we kind of briefly talked about this, I believe in our first episode of Selling Sunset, where we talked about the fact that we were somewhat confused with Chrishell's decisions in terms of wanting to have children. This was the reason her and Jason broke up. So we were very confused about the situation and what she wanted to do. And I was always under the impression that she wanted to have her own children, but I guess she is okay with that not being an option anymore, which more power to you if you're okay with that. And she tells Jason that her and G Flip are going to be adopting when they're ready to do that. Now, Chrishell brings up the argument between her and Nicole, and Jason to Chrishell, because he sure as hell did not mention any of this to Mary, but obviously Chrishell tells him that Nicole says that the only reason she was on this listing, which was Jason's listing, and I think in so many ways Jason confirmed that yes, it was his listing, that the only reason Chrishell was on the listing was because Jason had a crush on Chrishell. So Jason says that's inappropriate and it crosses the line. Nicole shouldn't be saying that. Well, Jason, do you want to tell Nicole that? Like, instead of just telling Chrishell, you should also tell Nicole that, because I agree, at least with that. 100% I agree with you, Jason. But as I mentioned, will he tell her? Will he tell Nicole? It doesn't appear that he will. But anyways, now we are at the girls' trip. And Bree and Amanda are going to be joining everybody the next day. I believe they said that Bree had something that she needed to deal with, and Amanda couldn't get a babysitter or someone to watch the kids until the following day. But we see that Amanda and Bree are having drinks together, and they talk about Chelsea telling the office about Nick Cannon having his 300th child. And apparently, we actually did talk about this, both me and Ava, in our previous episode, that this is when we find out that apparently in California law, after you have 10 children, you are no longer legally obligated to pay child support for these kids. And again, we talked in length about our thoughts on this and that we did not agree with this law. This needs to be changed as far as I am concerned, especially in Nick Cannon's situation. But I think in any person situation, we're going to say men in this case, in any man situation, if you are choosing to have 10 plus children, in Nick Cannon's case, this is exactly what he wants. He knows what he's doing. He wants to create an empire. And especially if your income can support your empire, so to speak, and in Nick Cannon's case, it does, then you, sir, should be paying child support for your children. I don't care. Work all the jobs you need to do. Do the Masked Singer. Do your show. Do your talk show. Now you're on Beat Shazam, obviously, for the fact that Jamie Foxx is not able to be on the show at the moment. But you are the first person they went to, and you're probably the one like, yeah, I'll do it, because you need the money. So you can support your 10 children. But again, we won't go any more into that. We went into length on it on our last episode, on how we felt about that. So next, we're back at the girls' trip, and they're starting to talk about whether or not certain people have had sex in the office. Well, at least Jason has. Chrishell says that she did have sex in the office. And I'm going to go back to Jason probably did with Chrishell. Hell, I'm sure he probably did with all his ex-girlfriends who he's had sex with, who he's dated from the office. Maybe not Mary, but anyway. Nicole, I wrote, is boring and annoying me. Yeah, need I say more? Um, Heather talks about Chelsea bringing up Nick and him having another child. So, and again, I have very few memories on what Heather said, but knowing that her and Bree seem to be very close, and I think if you're just a human, this is not something you do. You don't spread someone's hurt like that around their office. I'm going to say, let's go on to say that Heather did not like what Chelsea did. And I agree. And that's wrong. And I know Ava did say as well, like she's trying to air her out and say like you're not as okay with this as you think you are. And I agree with that. I do understand Chelsea's motives, but that doesn't mean I agree with Chelsea's motives. And I don't think Ava did either. So yeah, it's just, not okay. So now we're talking about Nicole and Chrishell. And it appears that now we have another fight, a brewing between Nicole and Chrishell. Now, guys, I'm going to do my best to get Ava's thoughts on the next episode about this. If she's not able to join in with us, I might just add a quick little synopsis or something between me and her, so that we can get her thoughts on this. Because I don't want to not do another episode, but I also really, really want her on this next episode so we can talk about this fight because it's a big one. It's the big one. So, Chrishell then says Nicole is on drugs. Oh God, okay. As much as I do not like Nicole, and as much as I dislike her, and as much as I think she is delusional, if this is not true, this is defamation at its finest, and that is a problem. Chrishell, you should not be saying that she's a druggie if she really isn't. And honestly, even if she is, you're still walking a really, very, very thin tightrope that you're probably going to fall right off of. And that's just not, I don't know. I don't know how to go about this. And I think once we get into the next episode, we can go more into depth with it, because there is a lot to unpack with this statement that was made. So, yeah, it was a little below the belt. And Chrishell says that she has a lot of things that she can say about Nicole, and that at Mary's bachelorette party, Nicole was doing drugs, and that she witnessed her doing drugs. And again, if it's true that this is what happened, eek. But again, I want to know what type of drugs she was doing, because I don't think Chrishell fully knew what it was. I don't think she ever really confirmed what it was. I think she was just speculating what she thought it could have been. I think she was mentioning Molly, and ecstasy. So I don't know. Maybe all the above. And then we end off this episode with Nicole calling Chrishell, and I'm not going to say the whole word. I'll spell it out. Nicole calls Chrishell a vindictive little see you next Tuesday. Oh, so we'll see with the next episode. We'll see how this unfolded. We'll see the tail end, I guess, of this argument as well. We see Mary putting her 2 cents in. And as I mentioned in our last episode, because we did talk about the receipts that Chrishell posted on her Instagram, and Ava did ask whether or not anyone had responded to this. And I had mentioned that from the looks of things, no. But there was definitely one person that definitely did not reply to her posts. And in that episode, I will finally reveal who that person is. If you don't know, probably by now you do. But in case you don't, you'll finally know who in the next episode, because it will start to make a little more sense to talk about it in the next episode. When we see the reaction of this cast member with what was said about Nicole. All right. So that is the end of the episode. We're just going to stick to the 2 for now. I think just kind of going through just to let you guys 100% aware what we're going to be doing. We will do another 2 episodes again in the next Selling Sunset episodes. We will cover 8 and 9. So if you haven't watched the episodes, I highly advise that you do. So you can get a feel for what we're talking about, because let me tell you, it's juicy. So yeah, with that said, if you like what you're hearing, please share with everyone in your life, friends, family, maybe, I don't know, maybe your grandpa really would like this. I don't know, but share with everyone if you feel so inclined to do so. We would greatly appreciate it. Also, please rate, subscribe. You can rate us, and you can also leave reviews on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. It would be amazing if you could. Just let us know how you think, and it really helps us also just spread ourselves into every little nook and cranny. You can also follow us on our social medias. We are currently on Facebook and Instagram at Reality Tea ×2. All of the information that you would need in order to find us on our social medias will be in our show notes. If you prefer to listen to us on YouTube, you can do so. We are at Reality Tea ×2. The link to our YouTube page will also be in the show notes. We also launched our website. It's just a little beginner website where you can listen to the episodes as well on there. That information will also be in our show notes. And yeah, I think that's everything. Guys, thank you. And again, I know the situation, this formatting is a little different. It's just you and me. But not to worry, I will do my best to make sure that if Ava is not going to be in our next episode for Selling Sunset, I will at least get her thoughts on this fight between Nicole and Chrishell. So yeah. And again, thank you so much. We will be back with another episode of B90 on Wednesday, and we will keep you posted on everything else. Okay, thank you guys.